Have you ever been dejected, rejected, denied, and deprived of that which you have always desired to become? What did you do about it? Did you remain focused, determined to achieve your dreams, staring at your goals and not letting it go? What is your story? Welcome to Against All Odds on the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA, a program that brings to your doorstep hope and inspiration. I'm sure you want to be part of this program today. And if yes, then don't go away. Stay with us as we will be back very shortly. My name, Doshima Pius Ikirapi.
This is Against All Odds.
On this episode today, I have a young man who did not allow his challenges to subdue him. Along the way, he became a wounded healer. Telling people, talking to people, speaking to people based on his own life challenge and experience. I'm sure you would like to meet him. I have the pleasure of introducing to you today on this program, Reverend Father Mark Alagi.
Thank you very
Father,
much.
it's so good to have you on Against All Odds.
Thank you very much. It's good to have you too.
It's good to have you in Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Doshima.
How is Kenya and all the Congolese and every...
Well, they are good, and those are places that have opened me to new experiences and amazing experiences of my life. So I have a personal attachment to these countries. Yes, and that was why after my ordination I had to stop by in Kenya to say hi to a few friends and to celebrate the Mass for them too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic, because obviously they become family.
They've become family, obviously. They were part of the journey.
They were.
They were part, and they are still part of the journey.
Yeah. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
On your ordination.
Thank you very much.
Congrats.
Thank you very much.
Reverend Father Mark Alagi, born into the family of Mr. and Mrs. Alphonsus Alagi from Oju, local government area of Benue State, Nigeria. He is Igede by tribe. Mark's birth brought sunshine and unending joy to his mom because he came at a point his mom had lost hope of having a male child after 5 girls. And so she had made a solemn vow to God in desperation that when this child is born, if it is a boy, he will serve God. This vow, unknown to her, against all odds, sent her son Mark through the desert, the wilderness, and storms to find his desired call into the priesthood.
I started the journey actually when I was leaving school, secondary school. I wasn't thinking too much of the priesthood, but I loved priesthood. I loved seeing priests. So I had a lot of priests who motivated me, whom I hanged around. People like Reverend Father Kenneth Ode, Father Titus Igese, late Father Oyihi, those who worked in my parish back home. And somehow they inspired me a little bit. And when I eventually left home after my secondary school to stay with my father in Oshobo, and again I found a job to work at the pastoral center Ede. So I was staying with now Bishop, I was working with Bishop, now Bishop Francis Adeshino of Ijebu, the diocese. He was the parish priest there, and he comes to play football with us, and so that really inspires me a lot. So when I got a job as a cleaner, first of all, at the pastoral center. So being there and then being in charge of the chapel, cleaning, the attraction started coming in gradually. And then I made my intention known to him that I really want to become a priest. And I came back home to Benue to apply to both diocese, which I did twice, and I was rejected twice too. I wasn't taken. And I went back to Oshogbo again, and the Bishop of Oshogbo actually gave me a chance to discern my vocation, sent me to a parish to go and learn Yoruba and to learn the culture. And after that, I still had a longing to go back home. I wanted to be home because of my mom or my family. I wanted to be close to where I'm familiar with people I'm familiar with. And I went back home again. I didn't call it a year that was wasted for another experience. And I was said no. The no came again, and I said, okay, fine. I had to seek my vocation elsewhere. But while I was in the pastoral center, the Redemptorists came for a program. Then was Father Thiele, Thompson, now Father Thompson, Father Noel Eshekine. There were some novices then who came with a program with their novice master. So when I met them, unfortunately, they were serving food. I served them food. So Father Thiele was like, oh, this young man, you could be a great Redemptorist. I was like, are you sure? He said, yeah. I said, now I asked him, whispered to him, who are the Redemptorists? He said, well, they work with the poor and the most abandoned. They are missionary groups. He gave me a little bit of background of the Redemptorists. And I said, can I apply to join you? He said, sure, my boy, the way he normally talks, sure, my boy, you can. And I said, oh, Father, okay. And then I remember very well one of his seminarians, as novices Thompson, now Father Thompson, was one who wrote the address for me on a paper. So I got back home and showed it to my dad, and I said, Dad, I met this group today, and I feel so attracted to them. Their habit is so looking nice. And my dad said, okay, what do you want to do about it? I said, I'm still trying to apply to the diocese and so on and so forth. He said, oh, try them and see if they will take you. My dad actually wrote the application letter for me. And then through the advice of now Bishop Badejo for your diocese, then Father Badejo, he asked me to try another missionary group. Then I applied to the MSPs. And I went to Makurdi for their interview and everything. I was taken, but they said I had no English. My English was delayed from WAEC, so I had to return again back. Eventually, gradually, in discerning my vocation, I returned back now completely home to Benue State to stay with my mom. I said, let me spend some time reflecting about life or what life holds for me. And at that point in time, I gave it another shot for to put diocese again. Then it was for the Titus Igese who was there, and they said no. Then I had to return to Lagos to stay with my sister. And then I got a job as a security guard, Falcon Security Services. But I loved the church a lot because I go to church every morning. I don't miss morning masses. Then Father Telbert Upabi was the parish priest of Assumption, Fallow Modern. And so we were the parish boys running around. And then one day my sister came to me and said, there is a letter from the Redemptorists. I said, a letter from them? Yeah, they're still asking if you are interested in them. I said, well, they wrote me a letter when my dad died, which I couldn't make their interview because I think the Redemptorists invited me twice. It was the third time I now went for the interview for the living. So there was this thing that I shared with Father Telbert, and he said, you remember, and it's not every candidate who gets this chance, that a congregation will write them several times. So I paid a visit, personal visits to them, and that was when I now met the likes of Agbulu, Atafiri, and the rest. And I met some great guys, and I was like, oh, this is a place to be. So they say, well, we'll still give you a shot to come for an interview. And then in 2000, that was how I came for the interview. We were in batches, 75 of us, and they had to take 12. And they brought it batch by batch. I found myself being taken as a Redemptorist. And it was one of the best moments of my life, I must say. It was like a dream come true for me, to be in a congregation where people are accepted for who they are. So the Redemptorist journey was a good one from the beginning until my pastoral year, where I was asked not to renew my vows, that I had to seek my vocation elsewhere. That moment was a moment of darkness for me because where do I go from here? Left, right, center? And I was asking myself a lot of questions. Where did I get it wrong? To take responsibility for the situation so that you'll be able to understand where you're going.
The first blow from the Redemptorist was hard, but Mark Alagi dared to try again.
Searching for life after Redemptorist was difficult for me. At first, I wasn't ready to accept the reality that I wasn't I was no longer a Redemptorist, but it was a life I loved. But as God will have it, through the same instrument, some Redemptorist brothers who kept encouraging me, said, no, brother, you still can find this vocation. God has a way of doing things. So look at the positive side and see how it could be of help to you to get to where you actually want to be. So at that time, I seek to prayers also. Prayers are very important. And that was how I took the blind leap of faith in 2009 when I went to East Africa without knowing anybody. I went to seek my vocation in East Africa. That was how I found myself in Kenya. When I got to Kenya, when God is preparing something, he prepares the people too for you. When these brothers welcomed me to Kenya, and I went all the way to Uganda to meet an archbishop who invited me for interview, if he could take me. I spent some time there, and then I met another congregation who asked me to come and have trial with them. I spent 9 months with them, but within me, it wasn't something I was looking for. I was looking for something more stable, much more. There's a hunger, inner craving for something much more. So I was ready to take the risk. And that is another key element that kept me going, the ability to take risk. So you must risk to gain. So that journey took me to Uganda. From Uganda, I returned to Kenya, where I met the Passionist, and they said, okay, we'll give you a shot. And they gave me a shot to continue seeking my vocation. And eventually, I found myself back in Nigeria with the Passionist, and then they sent me to Gwagwalada Major Seminary to do my theology. But at one point, there were a lot of controversies, misunderstandings within the congregation and the seminary, and then I was asked to withdraw again.
Life threw another blow, which almost crippled him. This time from far away Kenya, the Passionate congregation. How did he pull through?
So it came again. I said, okay, where am I heading this time? But this time around, God is now the one speaking, not me again. So I allow myself to listen to his voice. And like I say, when God is taking you somewhere, he prepares the people for you, the people who will take you there. And that was how Professor Morris became part of my life. He was there for me. He said to me, my son, if you really want to be a priest, I'll give you my support. He's a great man. He was one man God has used him to take me to where I should be today. And sometimes I dedicate my priesthood to God and Professor Morris. So that was how through him I got to the superior of the Passionists in Kenya, who said, okay, fine. I got registered to do theology with the Passionists in Kenya, and I had to stay in their community while I discerned my vocation. And Professor Iwu was paying everything for me. He took care of me like his own son. So eventually, as God will have it, I was elected the President School of Theology. That was the beginning of discovering that God is actually speaking now. God is leading me somewhere. God is trying to make a difference for me right now. So I said, okay, this story is becoming interesting, the story of my life. So eventually, the superior from Kenya wrote to him that I won't mind sending Mark to you to have some experience with you. Okay. And he was really open to it. Immediately he called, he sent me a message, can you write to come over? And I wrote to him, and then he said, okay, after your theology, you can come over. And I said, okay, fine. After theology, he invited me over to Congo. But it wasn't easy when I got to Congo to see the reality that I met. We were like, whoa, is this where I'm going to be? It's a different reality. I've never been in a forest before. I've never been in a difficult place before. And here I found myself in the middle of the equatorial forest. I said, where are we? But God still spoke to me. He said, yeah, I can't take you where I can sustain you.
Life, they say, is an experience, and you learn from it. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Life in Congo was a journey filled with uncertainties, fear, and doubt. Mark had to travel for the first time in his life, from one town to another by water within Congo.
You're in the water for 2 months, traveling within a country.
Within a country, yeah.
What was going through your mind?
A lot was going through my mind. First of all, it was something I've never done in my life. I've not even traveled by water anywhere in Nigeria. So, and I found myself in this reality that there are a lot of dangers even on the way. Because you're traveling, there is nothing like security, there is nothing like rescue team or something. There's no tempo, so if anything happens anywhere, you're gone. And seeing a lot of other boats which have capsized and a lot of people dying, there was fear. There's a lot of fear. Things going on in my mind. What if I die here? If something bad happens? But gradually, when I see the little kids who are on board with me, sometimes you have to become a father. You have to give them hope too that this journey will be over. A lot of kids got sick, people got sick. I had to intervene to help them, to the point that even there was a young girl who almost died. I had to donate my blood for her. So it's a terrible thing. People are suffering in Congo, especially in the area of transportation. If I had not seen that reality, I would have thought that life is always rosy everywhere. And then maybe I'll have a closed mind towards other people. And that's why I say humanity is under threat. It's not about where you come from. We're all human, and we must have that feeling for each other that we need to help humanity to grow. And so that was why I took up that task to work in Congo, especially on the boat, the Ausisan boat, where I helped to transport things and people from the village to Kinshasa. So I've made that journey several times. At the time, I've got used to it.
His experience with the Kinshasa people, a place filled with poverty, suffering, yet love and hospitality drew him closer to his mission.
Until 2018, the bishop now said, okay, I'm going to ordain you a deacon. And so I was okay, well, this journey is becoming more interesting. And as at that time, I was more relaxed now. I was doing the work God has called me to do. I travel on the boat with the people. I look at the possibility, how Congo is, the poverty in Congo. Traveling through the rivers really exposed me to a lot of reality, that sometimes your situation is better, but you are complaining. So you see people who have nothing, people who are struggling, and you are part of that struggle now. You are part of their hunger, you are part of their pains. Then that is when I was like saying, no, everything that happened to me prepared me for that as well. Not to lie, there are times I get scared too. I get scared, almost losing faith.
Yes.
But somebody had to inspire somebody who inspires.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, it's not despite the fact that I try to inspire people. There are people I need to inspire me to affirm that, no, you can do it. The push. And that is why I talk about human beings. If we can push each other, we'll be able to achieve a lot together.
True.
So eventually this year, after all the horrendous journey, the ups and downs, I was ordained a priest on the 28th of September. And the story now is another journey, has just begun.
From all the broken eggs life offered Mark, he used them to make omelets. He became a wounded healer through his write-ups.
At what point did you become a wounded healer?
I became a wounded healer at the point that I was able to learn to forgive. Because forgiveness is a very key element in keeping you healthy, both mind and spirit and body. Because unforgiveness is like building a prison, thinking that you've put someone in, but you are the prisoner within that prison. But when you forgive, you are free. So when we are wounded and we are able to get over our wounds, when somebody is in the same situation, you know what to tell them, how to journey with them, for them to find healing. So your wounds now, your pains now, are no longer instruments of bitterness or pain or destructive to you. They are now instruments of helping somebody through out of their situation. And so that is the point that I became the wounded healer. That point that I'm able to say, I want to let go.
Home is home. East, north, south, or west. After Reverend Father Mark's ordination, he took time to return home and celebrate with his people in the land of his birth. where life started, where he had always desired to serve his people.
And then being in Nigeria, I came for my Thanksgiving Mass, which is coming up on the 20th of this month, next Sunday at home. I need to celebrate too with my family. Those who are part of the journey needs to see the priest as well. Yes, because it will look somehow that after I'm ordained, I start work and they don't see me. And I need to come show appreciation. Like the other day they said, 10 lepers were healed, but only one went back to say thank you.
Reverend Father Mark Alagi today, against all odds, is a priest of the Most High God. His late mom's promise and dreams have been fulfilled in a strange land that has become home. What does the future hold for Reverend Father Mark?
To focus on my life in Congo, I need to learn French, I need to learn the culture, I need to learn the tradition of the people.
Before we run, I'm sure you want to say something to someone out there.
Yeah, what I'll say to someone out there is that whatever you're going through, always know that it's temporary. It's not going to last. But if you stick to it, it's going to last. If you keep being too negative, it's going to last. It's time to just look at yourself and say, I am capable. It's time to rediscover who you are. Without knowing who you are, you won't understand where you're going. You won't understand what life holds for you.
Thank you very much, Father Mark, for actually making out time and then giving us your time. This period, it's very busy for you, but you've been able to give us this time on Against All Odds, and we don't take it for granted.
No problem.
Do you have a story you want to share with the world to give someone hope and inspire someone? Then please contact us through the number on our screen. It's Against All Odds on the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA, and hopeful to do this again with you next week, same time, same station. Stay out of trouble. You are the first person and only person that can give yourself happiness, and then you'll be able to give that happiness to the world. You can't give what you don't have.